When it comes to iconic badges, the letter M along with a light blue, dark blue and red stripe on the back of a BMW is up there with the best. Seen as the gateway to bleeding the company's motorsport engineering into its road cars, the M badge has been a staple of the performance car market for 45 years now. The most recent additions to the M stable have been the M8 and M2 CS, and BMW has also revealed the Vision M next to offer us a glimpse into the future. We've got an up close and personal to these latest additions to the pack here behind the scenes at the LA Motor Show. But before we get to the new stuff, let's see how BMW M got to where it is today. The 1972 E9 3-litre CSL. Although it isn't strictly an M car, this is where the breed started. A proper homologation special for the European Touring Car Championship, the car quickly gained the name of the Batmobile due to its striking aero fins. The CSL stands for Coupe Sports Lightweight, much in part to the thin metal steel construction of the car. The 1978 M1. Arguably BMW's first supercar, this mid-engine beauty had its own one-make race series that supported Formula 1. BMW wouldn't make another mid-engine car until the i8, although hopefully there are some more in the pipeline for the 2020s. The 1985 E28 M5. The E28 is where the M5 name started, and it's potentially the first ever proper Q car. With its subtle 5 Series styling, it would easily float around town without anyone taking notice, but the 3.5 litre straight 6 would happily hurtle you down the nearest autobahn at up to 153 miles an hour. At the time, it was the fastest saloon car in the world. The 1986 E30 M3 Evo. When people imagine a classic M car, they normally imagine this. The E30 M3 was built to enter BMW into Group A racing, and that motorsport connection made it a smash hit. It is the only 4-cylinder M car, but the evolution came along and upped the power output from 192 brake horsepower to 217. Other changes included a deeper front splitter and a rear spoiler. The 1998 E39 M5. Lots of people say the E39 is the greatest M5 ever. So, does that make it the greatest M car ever? The power plant is what makes this variant such a standout performance saloon. The 4.9 litre S62 V8 was also used in the Z8 as well as the Ascari A10 supercar. It can still be seen as a modern super saloon, forcing the other German automakers to up their game into the 2000s. The E46 M3 CSL. The E46 M3 is probably the most revered M car of the past couple of decades. It has become the M3 to have, but the CSL is the real unicorn. It never came as a manual sadly, but the lightweight, race-inspired mantra of this car has made it a true M car legend. And of course, we can't talk about the E46 without mentioning its induction noise. The 2005 E60 M5. It's all about the engine with the E60. While BMW was in partnership with Williams in Formula 1, the company decided to throw a V10 engine into the M5 of the mid-2000s. That powertrain also found its way into the massively underrated M6, but we reckon the coolest 10-cylinder BMW was the E61 M5 Touring. Who wouldn't want a V10 estate? And with the limiter removed, you'd see over 200 miles an hour. The E92 M3 GTS. Just sneaking into this decade is the most striking colour scheme ever seen on an M car. The E90 range of M3s all had that fantastic motorsport-derived S65 V8 under the bonnet, but the GTS took everything to another level. It had an enlarged engine spitting out 444 brake horsepower, it was stripped out, the suspension tightened, the brakes made more powerful, and some adjustable aero was also thrown in to finish this incredible machine off. The 2011 1 Series M Coupe. Made famous by our very own Jeremy Clarkson, the 1M is known as an absolute hooligan of a car, with its short wheelbase and chunky rubber making it a complete riot to drive. Big engines in small cars always make for a hilarious motoring experience, and the 1M very much fits into that category. You'll do very well to find a cheap one of these in today's market. The 2016 M4 GTS. The M4 has always been a car that you need to be awake to drive properly. The straight 6 engine sends its power to just the rear wheels, making for a seriously leery machine. The M4 GTS followed the same vibe as the M3 GTS before it, a stripped back interior, additional aero, and power up rated to 493 brake horsepower. It's as hardcore as an M car has ever been, making for a proper track weapon. And that brings us up to date. With BMW pumping out M cars like nobody's business, they've brought the M8 name back with this, featuring a 4.4 litre V8 and shed loads of grand touring potential. The M2 CS now stands on the shoulders of the successful M2 and M2 competition, being like the 1M as the smallest saloon car that crams a straight 6 under the bonnet. Two very different cars that will both be brutes to drive. And then there's this, the Vision M Next. There are obvious touches of i8 and M1, making up a design that we'd be more than happy to see driving around the streets in the next decade. It's touted to be a hybrid with a 4-cylinder engine and electric propulsion leading to an output of 592 brake horsepower. So what goes into making an M car? Well, while we were at the LA Auto Show, we grabbed BMW representatives to take us through the makeup of an M car. First up, Marcus Flash, the CEO of M.
I took over in October 2018, and so the focus was 2019, and 2019 was the year of delivery. We were launching 8 vehicles. We didn't launch as many vehicles in the entire M history. We launched X3M, X4M, X5M, X6M, 3 8 Series M, and then the M2 CS. And we delivered on all of them, and this was my priority. Well, to be honest, M is about performance, but also M is very much about character. And we don't need to be just the fastest car on the road, we also need the cars that are very accessible from their character, that convince you from the first minute you're driving it, and this is something we're focusing on. The favorite M car of all time is the Z3 M Coupe. I own one, it was my first car, and I will never sell it.
Never ever.
Never ever. Well, it's the same answer than to the previous question. It's all about character, and we will not be the first to boast any technology that's fancy or that everybody keeps talking about. We have a promise to our customers, to today very satisfied customers, and we will only bring us a successor model as soon as it outperforms the current one. And this is also the goal for electrification. Well, it's very clear, it's electrification, and we will develop all sorts of technologies that are available within the BMW shelf, but we add the BMW M flavor to it, and we bring it when it's ready. The answer to this question is very easy, it's the power of choice. We won't have one drivetrain for the entire world, we are a global company, and we will have a powertrain ready for each market, and we will have a powertrain ready for M. For me, both the M8 Grand Coupe and the M2 CS, to be honest. I've driven both of them, and especially the M2 CS is the most crisp and precise driving machine that we have at the current lineup, and it's thrilling, and I love to present it here.
Next, we talk to Renzo Vitali, the man behind the sound of the Vision M Next, who will be shaping what future electric BMWs sound like, with a little help from the one and only Hans Zimmer.
Working with Hans Zimmer to redefine the sound of the car It's been a first privilege, first of all. And at the same time, it's been so much fun because the way we interact together, it feels really, really natural. To take care of the little smallest detail. So whenever you are working on an idea, the idea can give you so much elements that we're unexpected. So you just have to be persistent on the instinct and follow this idea, this musical idea, until the very end, and never give up on that idea if you feel the idea it works. And by going through this process of diving into details, you can land to a point where the sound could be a revelation for yourself. Well, I would say I come from a country where Leonardo was born. And Leonardo was painting the Mona Lisa, and he was conceiving this crazy inventions. So to me, there is no borders between technique and art and music. And automotive industry is nothing else as a way of showing the human intellect, where we can go. And bringing music, bringing soul into this world, it's certainly something very special, but it feels at the same time very natural.
We also spoke to Jose, the designer of the Vision M Next.
It's been always great to be part of BMW team. First of all, it's a group of very talented people. And competing is always very challenging, but it also adds spicy to the whole process. So actually, winning a competition, it's really, for me, I feel very proud of it. But at the same time, I feel lucky to be able to compete with all these amazing people. So it's really, really cool. I mean, it's probably like the dream from when I was a child coming true. It's an amazing sensation, it's an amazing feeling, probably one of the best of my life, to be honest. Not to see it just there, but see how good it looks, and supported by all the team and supported by such an amazing brand as BMW. The heritage from BMW sports cars, which is the BMW M1, the BMW Turbo, and also the BMW i8. These three cars were the main inspiration factors for me to design this car, and you can actually see around it. You can see all these elements and these key design elements on it. That's a tough one, but I will probably use all the knowledge I have achieved or I have taken from all these years to work at BMW, and do something for sure modern and thrilling.